We've now reached the last of the yellow GMs, KoKoDoKo by Fish Tank Overflow. I've been looking forward to this one for a good while, since I'd heard it's a puzzle level. I generally find puzzle levels to be quite unique and memorable, so I was real curious as to what a Grandmaster rated puzzle level was going to be like. Also, hi, I'm trying out voice commentary now. I don't think I'm very good at either the voice part or the commentary part yet, but I've got to start somewhere. It is just post-commentary for now. I'd prefer to do live commentary for videos where I'm playing something new for the first time, but I need to get better at remembering to talk while doing things first. Anyway, where is this? What's going on here? There's already a strawberry in the first room, but I couldn't see any way to get it. And the last level had a strawberry in the first room that turned out to be fake, so I decided to just move on for now, and come back later if necessary. This first obstacle is pretty tiny. It's basically an intro to some of the blocks this level will be building puzzles with. Getting past is just a matter of timing the zipper movement and using the right number of dashes so the path is clear. This room is a bit larger, but basically the same idea. It took me a little while to realize that I needed another dash to make it back to the red bubble. Trying to just jump over like this did not work, but I soon stumbled into the right path. Then it's just a matter of getting both colors of zip movers to line up. Or just realizing that blue isn't actually in the way. Now things are getting a bit more complicated. The goal here is to move the green zipper and leave the blue in its initial position, so we can take the bubble over and land on the green while still having a dash. A bit of testing showed that dashing 3 times is the only viable way to start the room. It's not too hard to find a way through, but unsurprisingly, taking the simple path leaves the dash block in the wrong position to get the berry, which means I have to find a way to use an extra dash. This seems like a good place for one. It ends up requiring some fairly precise movement, but it's simple enough. And with that, the berry is obtained and the room is clear. Now this is starting to look like a proper puzzle. There's less of an obvious goal here. The suspicious alcove in the upper right seemed out of reach enough that I didn't really try going for it. After some analysis, it looks like the only path to the top requires moving the blue zipper out of the way. And the only way to do that is to reach the middle blue zipper here. Again, I need an extra dash to make the dash block line up, but here it's trivial to add one. Now, how do I survive this? Can I avoid moving the green zipper? If I make the block fall, I can go around like this. That works just fine. Now, just make sure the dash block is lined up. Then move the green to get the falling block out of the way. And that's all there is to it. Okay, there's one more problem I didn't foresee, but I can fix that easily enough. And we're here. Looking at this next room, one thing immediately stands out. A very suspicious wall. Hey, it's Ogmo! I'm looking forward to the new jumper game in production. But there's nothing more over here, so back to the room. Looks like I have to use the falling block to push the red bubble down, which means making the block fall and then getting back in the bubble very quickly to make the timing line up. Maybe I need to use the zipper to get my dash back? That doesn't quite work. Oh, I can just take the bubble up. Just need everything to line up, and there we go, easy. Now, what's going on here? The same thing, but in reverse? There's a path on the right, but why is this here? It's set up so I do have to do the slightly more complicated strat of using the zipper to get my dash back. I couldn't see any reason to go back. Maybe there'd be a key later I have to bring back or something. But I did want to try it just to make sure. It only took a couple tries, and now I'm back. Yay? What's the point of this anyway? Well, moving on. I saw those yellow sparkles right away upon entering this room. Sure enough, there's a key here. Also, the heart? Already? Is that even real? Well, regardless of if it is or isn't, I've got more to do here. Almost got that first try. Second isn't bad. It's barely visible here, but I pretty quickly realized that the one-way platform at the entrance to this room is lined up with the falling block, and as soon as I stop overcomplicating it by trying to go back into the bubble, I can easily use the block to push me into the previous room. So, back here. Is it in this outer breach alcove after all? The molten metal looking stuff there is the same color as the key. That could be a hint. There doesn't seem to be a way to go back any further than this, so it must be in this room, right? But it's still out of reach. Well, it turned out I just needed to add one thing to make it work. See, I'd had it in my head that I had to grab the zipper and jump immediately, because the zipper's gonna go down. But if I just don't grab it, I mean, it's small, but I can neutral for a bit of extra height, and sure enough, that comfortably makes it. And the hidden door is here, along with this token. I guess that's so if you go this way first, you can get back easily. And now, this room. So, at this point, I'd spent just under 1 hour in this level, and I'll just go ahead and tell you that this is the last room. So am I almost done with the level? Well, it did not quite work out that way. Anyway, first off, this room is really big and complicated, so much so that I did not even try to understand it as a whole at first, instead just poking at my starting options. Moving the green block seemed like a good first milestone. With that, I can climb further up the right side. And to make it up to this bit of wall, or into the second red bubble. But from there, well, I was stumped. Not enough to want a hint or anything, but I couldn't see any way to climb higher, except for this obvious corner jump, of course. But that's probably not intended, and it was pretty difficult besides. Some experimentation showed me that I could climb up with the dash block in a different position. Not that that seemed to help me in any way. I also considered trying to get momentum from the dash block like this, but I couldn't get it to work, and I was like 90% certain it wouldn't even have been helpful anyway. But it had now been almost an hour since I'd got to this point, with zero further progress, and I was getting desperate enough that I started trying the corner jump again just to explore the later parts of the room. I still wanted to solve the puzzle rather than cheese it, but maybe if I could jump around the later parts of the room I'd figure out something. I even started thinking that, you know, maybe this whole big fancy room is a red herring, and the actual path is back here in this area that the bubble flew through. Unsurprisingly, it was not. After more than 2 hours in this room, I started finally making it up to the top half with the corner jump, still with little idea of what I was actually going to do up there. I mostly figured out that there was nothing helpful up here that I hadn't already discovered from looking through the binos. I did find that I could slide from this wall into the bubble, which was helpful since jumping directly from the zipper into the bubble had been rather precise. Anyway, by now I felt like I understood most of the room pretty well. The ending was just a matter of getting to the top with the blue and cyan zippers in the right position. I just could not find a way to climb past the midpoint, corner jump cheese aside. But there was this peculiar assembly of two zippers on the middle of the left side that I could not find any sort of use for. In fact, I couldn't figure out how to interact with them at all. That spike-covered blue zipper was always in the way. So I started looking specifically for if there was a way to climb with the blue zippers in the other position. And sure enough, I found one. That slide from the wall into the bubble turned out to not be reliable after all, by the way. But finally, after more than 3 hours in this room, I made it to this cyan zipper. And from here, well, what was the point of this again, anyway? I clearly couldn't use it to climb further up the left side. In my analysis of the room at this point, the only way to climb further up seemed to be to somehow get here with a dash and wall bounce. I couldn't do it from the red bubble. It was either too low or it would hit spikes. And though I looked over it again and again, I could not find any way to climb from the bottom of the right side without using a dash. At some point during all this pondering, the idea of somehow taking a dash from this middle cyan zipper over to the right side did briefly flit through my head, but I didn't see any way that it could be possible. It felt like what the room was pointing towards, but it also felt so unreasonable that I did not think about it for any real length of time. Maybe if there had been really no other way to proceed, I would have thought about it for longer. I'd been in this room for long enough that by now, I was just thinking, you know, I can do that corner jump. It's time to stop worrying about intended solutions or cheese, and just pull out all the stops and beat this. Now, that's easier said than done. This corner jump is still very, very hard. And I kept holding grab for a bit too long in making this block fall early. But I did at least use the opportunity to verify that the end of the room worked the way I thought it did. Even when I made it past the hard part, I found many ways to still die. Either from messing up a simple jump or forgetting what I was supposed to do. But in the end, I made it work. Although it turned out that the binos did not actually scroll to the very top of the room, and so where I thought I would hit a screen transition, I actually had to jump to the right. Fortunately, I had just barely enough stamina to try again, and so it was finally over. By the way, the actual solution is to hyper from the cyan zipper. You just barely make it over the spikes and land on the dash block. I guess the way I did things, I ended up clearing the whole level without needing a single hyper. At any rate, if I had missed something super obvious, I might have felt a bit bad about resorting to the cheese. But as it was, this hyper is precise enough that I felt pretty good about doing the corner jump instead, clearing it my own way. KoKoDoKo is a fantastic level, but after all that, I was very happy to finally be done with it. In the end... Wait, I missed a berry? I have to go back in? I'd actually done that final room across 4 different play sessions, and by this point I had completely forgotten about the berry in the first room. I poked at it for around 40 seconds, and then realized I was being very silly. You just take the bubble. It's obvious. And with that, the level is complete. For real this time. If you compare the ratio of deaths versus time spent against the other levels, you can see how much longer I spent in this one staring through the binoculars just trying to understand each room and figure out what to do.